Welcome back to the Upfront podcast, part 2 with Hannah Tracks. So we're going to delve into the new life. So we've covered what you struggled with weight-wise, what was going on eating disorder-wise, how you got out of that, various relationships, body image. We've covered that in episode 1. So if you've not already watched that, go back and watch that first for context. And we're going to kind of move more into present day, but we're not going to go right to present day. I want to go kind of from not the elephant in the room, but the most important thing that's ever happened in your life, which is the loss of your dad. So we covered in the first episode, your best friend, you know, he was your everything. Obviously we both lived that firsthand. We were close friends at the time, so I know exactly what you went through.
Yeah.
But for those who don't, should we just skim over? Because
skim it.
You want to skim it.
We'll skim it. I think where I'll start is at the end of 2019. So if you don't follow me or know anything about me, my dad was a amateur bodybuilder, just did it on the side because he loved it. By no means the best, but he was the best to me. And every year he would compete, and it was just our thing that we would do. We'd train together, we'd travel to shows together, we'd watch shows, we would spend weekends together.
Did you know anything about the bodybuilding world before your dad
No.
started bodybuilding?
No.
So your introduction into the bodybuilding world was through him.
My dad. And he would buy the magazines, the muscle magazines, and I remember looking for it thinking, "What? This is terrifying!" Like just the size of the muscles and the tan. I remember looking through these magazines thinking, "What is going on here?" And then he just developed from, I said in the previous podcast about the fact that he'd always been really sporty, and I always remember him either running, he used to do half marathons, cricket, football, you name it, he did it. And then he found the gym and loved it, and it just went from there. And I remember everything that he used to eat. My mum used to make him meals like the tuna, the bagel, and yeah, so my introduction to bodybuilding was through him. We'd spend all the time together, and then it was 2019, and towards the end of 2019, I came out of a very long-term relationship. It wasn't a good relationship at all. We lived in a house together. It wasn't my house. And I had to be the one to leave. And my dad was just like, "We're going to get you out of here ASAP.
Give a solution.
Get a solution. This is what's happened, and I'm going to get you into a nice place of your own," which he did. Went into a flat, and he was just
that flat. Great times.
Great times in that flat. What
the stories we will not tell on this podcast, but great time.
It was an awful time because I was really sad because I was like, what am I going to do now? I'm 31.
I remember so vividly you on the treadmill our gym.
I remember.
And you were like, "Bex, this has happened." Is you relationship wise?
You were one of the first people that I was able to say out loud because I wasn't. I remember I got my nails done, I think twice, and Emily, who was doing my nails, said, you know, how's, would name him, how's this? I'd be like, "Yeah, we're all good. And I wasn't even living in the house. I just couldn't accept the fact that wasn't my life anymore. Not because I missed him, loved him, wanted that life. I just couldn't comprehend the fact that everything I'd known for so long and told my head was going to be I planned my whole life out. Was no longer.
The change was too overwhelming.
The change was so overwhelming that I couldn't say it. And I remember me and you were on the treadmill, and I said to you, "We've actually split up." And you were like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "And I'm moving here." And it was just so terrifying to do all of that on my own. I wasn't on my own because my dad did it all with me. Anyway, he'd competed in 2019 and he was tired. He was tired. He was battered at the end of that season and took some time off. He got laser eye surgery. And I remember him getting this laser eye surgery and being like, Hannah, I can read the Pringle tube. And it was just, yeah, all things like that. And then New Year 2020, this like bubbling news of something called COVID and a virus, and it was spreading. And I remember being in the car and it being like 2 people in the UK have contracted it and they're in this hospital. And I remember thinking,
Gives me chills thinking about it.
I remember thinking, wow. And my dad was taking it really seriously. He was like,
I remember you posting on your stories and him being like, this. So Phil, Hannah's dad, was really well spoken. Just to do an impression of him. No, I won't actually.
yeah, you can do an impression.
I won't do it justice, but very well spoken. And I remember you uploading videos just sat in the house and stuff all together, because it was very a family time at the beginning of COVID, wasn't it? Because you were all sort of huddled in your front rooms and it was like, are we going to be locked in here forever? Like, we've only got each other. It was that very like family vibe. But it was for quite a lot of people, sadly not others. But I remember you uploading stories and him, you know, and you kind of laughing about it because
he was doing my head in.
He took it so seriously and was like, he was very like, Hannah.
If you go to the gym, make sure you wear gloves. Make sure that you don't touch any doors. I just remember him being very, very, very
took it very seriously,
very, very serious about it. And then lockdown was introduced, and I used to go up to the garden. So I only lived around the corner from my dad. I used to go up to the garden, train in the garden. We had, you know, makeshift weights, anything that we could.
I remember I trained there. Wasn't supposed to.
Anything that we could, that we could lift, that's what we did. And I'd make circuits for myself. I'd film myself. Not that it was going anywhere. I just did it for motivation for me, and I was up there every day.
You had to bring some sort of structure and routine
to my life, because I was scared.
I was training in my car park. Like, it was bad.
I mean, if you listen to the last podcast where we talk about that need for control and me very much needing that control, and if I feel like I'm out of control, bad things can happen. I needed to have some kind of routine.
You need to claw at something, build something.
So I revolved my whole day around going out on a walk and doing my training session in the garden, sometimes with my dad. Well, to start with, for the first few weeks, we were always doing it together. And then he just kind of started being like, no, I'm not going to do it today. And that was weird to me. And then he started to feel a little bit unwell, and he was talking to me about feeling unwell to the point where I thought he had a physical illness. So he'd had doctor's appointments and had a hospital appointment, and I was thinking, oh my God, is something really awful's wrong with him.
Had he ever suffered with his mental health before that you knew about?
No.
Always just been
no
textbook man.
He's an overthinker, and he's a warrior. A warrior and a warrior. He's a warrior. If he thinks that any of his family are sad or down, he will worry above him. He will worry himself sick.
Sounds like someone else I know.
That's basically it. And anyway, I thought there was something really physically wrong with him, and I was terrified that, you know, that he was struggling to tell me that he had like an illness. And about March, April, May, about 8 weeks, 7-8 weeks into the first lockdown, my dad went out one morning and he never came back. And he took his own life. For what reasons, we will never truly know. And
I don't think it matters, because it doesn't change the outcome. It doesn't change life since. And I often think with things like that, even if you could actually ask that person and it didn't change the outcome, would it matter? I don't know.
Yeah, it would.
But that's never happened to me. So that's me saying it, somebody that's not gone through that. Yeah. So I guess it's, if it would to you.
It would.
It would to you.
And he is, I still talk about him like he's, you know, at home. My most favourite person in the whole world. Absolute everything. everything. Um, so for him, for that to have happened and him to not be around, and that was from May 2020, and we're now October 2023.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, Hannah, that's still really fresh.
yeah, I know.
That's not a lot of time, and for I don't in any way wanna make you I think it's important to reflect on, like, how you have what you've done in that time, but it's no secret that you haven't given yourself a second to whether you wanna say, like, stop and take it in or
I never stopped. I've never stopped.
you never stopped, and this is goes right back to what we talked about at the start of the first episode with creating work for yourself, keeping yourself really busy, constantly on the go, on the need to be constantly on the go. Do you think that what happened has fed into that even
Yeah,
further?
yeah.
Yeah.
Never really thought about it like that, actually, until now.
You learn something every day, just saying.
I've actually never, I've not stopped since that day. That day,
And the amount of times I've said to you, Hannah, you haven't, you, so many people do it. So many people do it.
yeah.
And I think, but then how do you judge what's stopping and how long do
Yeah.
you allow yourself to go through various grieving processes? There's no guideline,
Do you
there's
know,
no,
it's really funny because I read somewhere that if you suffer from like a major loss,
is this the 7-year thing?
yeah, that you don't actually, it doesn't hit you until you get to year 7. And do you know what? I think about it quite often because I
Mm.
think, because I said to William, my brother, the other day, I said, "Oh, I haven't cried for a long time." And he's like, "Nah, me neither." Um, and in my head, I think, "Oh, well, I'm still only at 3.5 years. Like I've got 3.5 years
I'll
to
do
go.
it then.
I'll do it then. I'll put it off. I'll do it then. I'll
Mm,
think about it then. I'll cry about it then."
mm.
Um, that's very much my mindset. I think, oh, it's almost like I think in my head it will get to year 7 exactly, and I'll go "Whoa," and cry and break down. So
Mm.
that's my thought process.
I
That's
mean,
how I keep myself safe.
there's literally, like I just said, there's no textbook on it. There's
No,
no guidelines, there's no rules. I just don't even think you can make any assumption.
no,
It might hit you tomorrow. You might be the way out of here. You literally don't know,
no.
and it comes in waves. From what I've seen with you and others around me who've gone through loss, it
Hmm.
very much comes in waves, and you cannot control those. So that's part of your life. I think
Forever.
that, and you need to know that you can't control the wave.
Mm.
But what do we always say about?
It's my favorite thing that our little philosophy is
Yeah,
with every big high, there'll be a
every
big
great
low.
time, every great day,
Yeah,
every great milestone, blah, blah, blah. Even just having a day where you're out in the car, there's a great song on, the music's on, and
yeah.
you just feel happy to be alive. You're going to feel again in about
It,
48 hours, whatever it
yeah.
is.
But when you feel or you feel down, you have an awful day and you just think, "Oh my God,
The
like
good day comes
the good
back.
day is round the corner."
Yeah.
And they always are. How many times like do you voice note me going, "Hannah, I've just woken up and I feel awful. I'm having the worst day ever. This has gone wrong. This has gone wrong. This is blah, 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 blah." And then I voice note you and say, "I know it, I'm hearing you. I know it's bad, but
Talk to me on Wednesday when you're on cloud
talk
nine
to me on
again.
Wednesday when you're up there again."
If you are having a day like that or a time period like that in your life, like the better stuff does come. You sometimes just have to wait for it.
This is so I get a lot of messages on Instagram, and people say, "You've been through one of the worst things imaginable. Like you've suffered the greatest loss of your life, the greatest loss of the love of your life, and you're the happiest you've ever been." And I will sit here on this podcast and say openly, my life right now, my relationship, just everything is the happiest I've
Mm.
ever been. And the heartbreak is that my dad will never see that, has never seen that.
I think he can see it.
um, but I am.
Mm.
I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm just testament to the fact that however just low, sad, unimaginable life feels, promise you there is, but like better days are coming.
Did you ever hit that point?
No,
I've never asked you that before.
no. Do you know why? William.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever leave William. William's never going about life on his own,
Yeah.
if I have anything to say about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So much for skimming over it.
Yeah. Didn't want to go too in depth, but we needed to provide
Yes.
context.
So you've gone through that. You then went through the most probably this is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Your best Hannah.
Oh,
2019, sorry, not
yeah.
2019.
2020.
2020 Skinny Hannah
Skinny Hannah.
created through
sadness. It was sadness
sadness.
because I'd lost my relationship, my home, the place, my future, what I thought my future was going to look like. Then I lost my freedom through, well, we all did, through lockdown and the whole concept of what is life. And I lost my dad.
So you lost everything.
I lost everything.
But gained what you feel was the best you'd felt in yourself.
The best I looked, looking back, how I feel now sitting here today is the best I've ever felt.
And important to say that those two things do not correlate.
And they do not correlate because if you look back at pictures of me from 2020, I look
when
great.
I say when I'm sat here saying your best self, the best Hannah,
Yeah.
this, that's coming from your perspective.
That's my
I'm
perspective.
not calling
No,
you,
I know that.
That by no means, I am not attaching your skinniest
It's a feeling.
look through grief and
No.
loss to like, oh, you looked amazing. And
Yeah.
not saying that, like,
Yeah.
you know my opinion on that.
Yeah.
You know, I think you look absolutely stunning right here and now. And we're always changing. Like,
Yeah,
that's
of course.
I'm not attaching that to that. But yeah, when I say the best hand, like that's when you felt your best. You were feeling yourself.
I was feeling
and
myself.
You were trying to make
I was trying to make the best, you know.
Because really, what did you left? What did you have left apart from
my life 2020 post dad was everyone was up in the air. Everyone's routines were up in the air. Some people were working, some people weren't. Some people were training, some people weren't.
Do you know what I think you wanted to really look as well? And I've never said this to you. I think you wanted to look resilient. Like, well, I've gone through all of this and I can still train and I can still do this.
And I can still do it.
And I can control.
Yeah. Yeah. And I haven't fallen apart. And that's not by me trying to look inferior. It's just by me trying to show that.
It's trying to keep your mind busy.
Yeah.
You were trying
inferior, superior.
You were trying to just keep it going all the time. Yeah. And that's the avenue you took through fitness. So you were weight training, you were gyms open back up.
Yeah, they were open and they were closed, but I was training by any means necessary. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. We're upfront.
Yeah.
You know, if there was a facility that we could train at, we trained there.
Yeah.
If there wasn't, then we made the best of what we had.
And I hope that anybody...
And I don't regret it.
I hope that anybody who judged us for training when we shouldn't have been training because of what the government said now understands why we were training. Because if we weren't training, we were at home making ourselves sick or
spiraling
with grief.
You know, you almost think
there is always a reason, and there's two sides to everything. So just
what would you rather? What would you rather? Someone do something that's going to keep their mind busy, make them feel healthy, and give them a bit of happiness, or would you rather them be at home, in despair, crying, going through hell because they were doing what they were told? You know, what would you rather?
Yeah.
Pick it. Because, you know, whatever.
So whilst we're talking about judgmental people, let's move to the corner of the internet that we don't give too much thought to anymore, but like trolls, bad vibes.
Yep.
Obviously, you've gone through that.
I feel really unwell already.
And I would say at its peak was around this time. We don't have to talk too much about it.
No.
But there is good and bad. I went through it. I think anybody who's had a platform at some point goes through it. Negativity, whether that be I had people inboxing me. I've seen you using a gym.
I had a couple.
You know, I've always had, for something about me, people feel like they can say it behind my back, but also to my face. And I don't know why that is.
They don't say it to your face. They go to your inbox. They say it to you directly, but no one comes to your face.
No, that's true. They just don't have the opportunity. But I think there's always that horrible, judgmental side to the internet when you put yourself out there. So
Yeah.
do you regret logging what you've logged on Instagram since 20
No.
thingy till now?
No. Because going back to what you said to me in the first episode, why do you think there are people here from 2012 that are still here? And I've said, because I'm honest as I can be. I'm genuine. I'm literally just myself.
And also,
I know
you
who
don't
I
do
am.
anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. I'm not a bad person. So I always remember the really cliche saying, you could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world and there'll still be someone that doesn't like peaches, and that's fine. And it has taken me such a long time, because I'm a people pleaser. I want people to like me. And if someone doesn't like me, but maybe 100 people do, I'll focus on that one person and want to change their mind. And I tried to do that for a long time when I discovered the more toxic part of the internet. That came around 2019. I was sat in my car and I got an Instagram DM from someone saying, "Hey Hannah, not sure if you're aware of this website, but usually it's used to say really nasty things about people. However, just want to let you know that yours is really nice. There's loads of nice things said about you." And she sent me the link and I was like, what is this? Tapped
Did you
on
know
it.
her?
Yeah, as in chat, which I think a lot about now, I think.
Was she on there?
The fact that you knew that exists. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I went on the website, I checked it out, and she was right. There were really nice things said about me, like, "Oh, do you follow Hannah Tracks? I think she's really this, I think she's really that." Really lovely things. And I was like,
Did that make you feel validated?
Felt validated because, yeah, I just felt great. I went back maybe later that day or that night, and someone disagreed with a lot of what was being said.
And the can of worms was open.
The can was open, and then it spiraled. And when I say I lived and breathed that website for a long time, where I was waking up in the night.
That makes me so sad.
I couldn't sleep. I would wake up in the night and I'd log on and I'd spend hours just reading it and thinking, that's so not true. That's not me. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. That's not what I meant.
Did you alter your behaviours?
Yep. So I I think initially...
For anybody that doesn't know, this website is anonymous.
Yeah.
So people spend their time, just to summarise what it is, they create an account and then they will anonymously give opinions on anybody they want to.
Based on what they see online.
Only if they have X amount of... So if they're popular enough. And... you can just say whatever you want.
Yep.
There's
no repercussions.
No.
Nothing
no consequences. And the idea of it is that they're people who make money, and if they're incorrectly not declaring ads and things like that, and they're doing things wrong, you can say that, you can draw attention to that you don't like that about them. But then it goes so much further, because they'll just talk about...
they'll go into...
tear you in hole. They'll every single detail.
Yeah.
I mean, I had things and they've written about me that I smelt. I'm sorry, have you met me? I smell great. I wear
my dream is
£100 perfume.
My dream is for one day, like my house, when I get one, to smell like yours. Like,
oh, thanks,
yeah,
mate.
you take great pride.
I buy the next.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it dominated my life for a long time. I started by adapting my behaviour to try and get those people to like me. And then I remember I just went off grid. I went off. This was before,
Same.
This was before my dad passed away. I was off Instagram for about 6 or 7 weeks. Didn't post a...
Did it exhaust you?
It exhausted me, because I was... nothing has ever come directly to my Instagram. No one DMs me telling me what this or that. I got a couple of nasty DMs throughout lockdown in regards to kind of maybe my behaviour, what I was doing or shouldn't be doing, or what people thought I should and shouldn't be doing. That's it. But other than that, nothing's ever come directly to me. And then once my dad died, I thought, I bet they like me now. And I remember I logged on.
Wow.
I wanted to see what they were saying.
I bet you felt safe, because you felt like they can't be mean now.
I felt like, you can't be mean because my dad's just died.
Can't be mean to that girl.
No one's going to be mean to her. And They all talked about it, what they thought may or may not have
Oh, don't. That makes me
happened,
feel sick that
all of
anybody
that.
had an opinion
But
on a man they never knew. That makes me really angry.
and then I thought to myself, do you know what? Even if something nasty was on there, and it wasn't, um, I feel really differently about it now.
It's just your
And
perspective.
my perspective of what matters, and what hurts me has completely changed. So the worst thing in the world prior dad dying was people not liking me and people being mean to me. And now the worst thing in my life has happened and
Nothing else
nothing
matters.
else touches me.
Do you
So
still feel like that today?
yeah,
Even stronger?
yeah. So don't get me wrong, me and you have conversations about it. We think about it sometimes. Had to block the website from I don't think the website's even blocked on my phone anymore. I just have no desire. Do you know what? And I've said this to you before. Looking at that website for someone that may potentially be being spoken about on there, if you read your own thread, I view it as a form of self-harm.
Self-harm.
I view it as sometimes when I'm having a really bad day and I'm feeling really sad and I'm feeling really and I'm feeling angry and I hate, I'm feeling so down.
I wonder if you
I lie on my,
seek validation.
I lie on my bed and I think, how can I make this day worse? I'm going to look at that website.
Or how can I make it better? I wonder if
No,
maybe
I never think
there's...
that.
No? Okay,
No, I
fair
always
enough.
think, how can I feel worse? I want to make myself feel worse. So that's a form of self-harm by looking at it, but I never look at it because the CBT, the therapy that I had for my eating disorder, kicks into my head and I
Mhm.
think, okay, Hannah, go on then. No one's stopping you. Go and look at it.
Mm.
Okay, how do you feel now? Even worse. What's that achieved? What's that helped?
You will never go on there and come away
Feeling
feeling
better.
positive.
So why?
Why do it to yourself? And some key things I just want to say about it, because I don't really want to give it much more
Yeah,
time or energy.
let's wrap this one up.
I'm not going to slag off anybody that goes on there. Do what you got to do. Everybody needs to have a bitch. But I mean, me and you go for a walk or go for a coffee
Or we
or
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp and say like, "Ugh,
We're nasty. We're bitches.
come on, we're women. You do say things about people.
I'm
You
not
do,
saying
but
don't
you
be
do it to your
nasty.
bestie, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Get out, have your little vent, and then it's done. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I do not ever bitch.
Because we do.
Everybody does. But just think about the fact that think how you would feel if the person you're bitching about could hear you.
Also,
When you write something on that website, that person can hear you.
I worry about one day, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I worry about like if I have children, like looking up my name on the internet
Mhm.
and coming across. I was terrified when my dad was alive that he would come across that website and read it. I was terrified.
So I've got children, and family could Google my name,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's on there about me, if it's still
No,
going.
I don't either.
I mean, years ago when I did look, there was a few things. When I stopped looking was when my children were mentioned. My children's appearance was mentioned, which I think is beyond vile. I can't even understand how that would enter your head, but okay. And I promised you and I promised Jack I would never go
Yeah.
on that again,
Yeah.
because what good's come from that?
Nothing.
Nothing. So,
Yeah.
and I never have. I'm not talking about it
Let's
anymore.
just stop talking about it. It's gone dead. It's gone dead. I think we've addressed it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my view
Have fun on there. Nothing
Yeah.
good's going to come from it.
No.
And also, one last thing, you should total up, like screen time on your phone. Imagine totaling up the time you spent on that website and what you could have done with your
What you
life
could
in
have
that
done.
time.
Could have done
You
with
could
your
go for a
time.
walk.
Could have done a
Cleaned.
face mask. Could have cleaned. Could have gone shopping. Could have
Gone for a coffee, just had a great
whatever.
time. Just
Yeah.
enjoyed life.
Text your friend.
You're here once, don't
Yep.
spend it on there.
Yeah.
Cool. So, where did we get to? So
my dad's passed away.
grieving and skinny.
We're grieving and skinny. I'm going to different gyms that when they were open. I was off work for the maximum amount of time, so I was not working. I needed to do things with my day, and I just cracked on really.
I remember you going to a My Protein sponsored event, because you, for a long time, it was for everybody who'd been in lockdown, going to things again.
No, this was before. I went to
sorry.
It was about a week or two before the lockdown. I went to that My Protein event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember you going to that.
Yeah.
So what year did you get sponsored?
Oh, I've been affiliated with them since 2018. I've been an athlete with them since
And
2020.
what does that entail? So an athlete is a sponsored
So the
athlete.
difference between an affiliate and an athlete is when I was an affiliate, I would get sent and I could make an order. They'd send me a voucher every month and I would have a code, and any money spent using on the website using that code would generate me a little bit of money. And then when I made the crossover to sponsored athlete, I'm sponsored, so I get paid. I get paid by them. And as well as that, I get the voucher and I get, I'm just kind of I guess, promoted a little bit, I
Mhm.
guess. But yeah, that's the difference. I've been doing that since 2020.
And you're enjoying that? You still love the brand just as much?
I love the brand just as much as all I wear. I'm wearing all
Yeah,
my protein today.
you do. That is all you
I
live
literally
in.
live in it. I wish I could have someone follow me around with a camcorder, a video, like a camera all
Yeah.
day, because I literally use them all day. I could do more, but I do a lot.
So from your so your life with your dad,
Yeah,
him in the competing world, you obviously
yeah,
were very quickly exposed to loads about competing, going to shows.
yeah.
I think now where bodybuilding is so
Popular.
popular on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I meet people who are on their first prep and they've never been to a show.
Dro- Crazy to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So you'd seen that whole world, you had an interest in it, and
Yeah.
your goal was to
To compete.
compete
So
yourself.
I wanted to do my first show. I had envisioned to be like Dad's last show. Would be my first show. We'd get on stage together. It would be really great. We'd get photos.
Did he know that that was your goal?
No, he never knew that was my goal. And I was really
Oh,
nervous to tell him that I wanted to get a coach. Really,
okay.
because I knew he wanted to protect me all the time. So I didn't know whether he would actually maybe not take it in a good way, maybe take it as I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway, he passed away, and then I saw it as well, I'm going to do it for him. I found a bodybuilding coach, Dan Wellburn, who
DW.
Team DW.
If I'm still blocked, you need to unblock me.
That was a mistake.
It was a mistake block.
Love him. I'm not coached by him anymore, but he's a really, really great man.
Yeah, lovely.
A really great man. I was coached by him. I had very much had in my head
You had a
focus.
great time.
Really did have a great time. Like, he fed me a lot, then he dieted me, and then he fed me again.
You had that focus, that vision, the goal.
He was perfect. He suited the time of my life that I was in.
Mhm.
And I
Physique-wise, you were happy whilst
was
being
happy.
coached there?
Yeah.
Because you went through like your first proper bulk, didn't you? I remember.
Yeah. And I felt great.
Yeah.
Really felt great. I was training hard. I was eating food. I felt structured. It was.
And by this point, the
It's a
gyms
good
are open
time.
up full time
Yeah.
for us. We were in training when we could together.
Yeah, but even when we were in the last lockdown, and I had a gym in the garage. I used to train in
Yeah,
a friend's
remember.
garage, and I had a lockdown plan. Like, he sorted me right out. It was great.
Yeah.
But then as time went on, and circumstances in my life were changing, my focus changed, and my interests changed.
Your desire.
My desire, my drive, and I actually started to go through different stages of grief, which I won't go into, but it made me see bodybuilding in a different way in relation to my dad, and I was starting to question things, and I thought, do you know what? I maybe don't love this world as much as I thought I did,
Mhm.
and it's not what
Well,
it
I think
was.
it changed your perception of it.
Changed everything for me.
Yeah.
So I kind of started to just not love it as much,
Do
and
you know what's interesting as well? Something that's like really hammered home within bodybuilding is like, do it for you, do it for you. Perhaps you were doing that
I wasn't.
for
I wasn't.
your dad.
I was doing it for my dad,
Yeah.
and then just
And there's only so long you can hold that up, because when push comes to shove and you're deep in a prep and it is hard, unless you want to do that.
so I'm going to sit here right now and say I didn't, and I don't want it
Mhm.
enough. And if you want to be a good bodybuilder,
You gotta want it.
you gotta want it. And I didn't, I don't, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Nope.
It's not for everyone.
Not at
So I moved away from that, and just kind of like do whatever I want for exercise, train, swim, got into running again,
Hiking mountains.
dog
walks.
So yeah, I met my now boyfriend, partner,
Do you know what's so funny?
future husband.
I put a Q&A up, didn't I? I don't know if we'll have time for it. Lewis wrote a question in.
Oh my God, what was it?
Do you
Go
want me
on
to
then.
read it to
Yeah,
you?
go on then.
I'll just be a moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
So yeah, I met Lewis in 2020, and we've been together ever since. And go on then.
World's Strongest Barber responded to your question sticker with, "Who's going to make my food whilst Hannah's recording the podcast?"
Wow. Actually, I've made him food this morning already. So mine and Lewis's dynamic is really, really great. So I love looking after him. I love looking
It's your love
after him.
language.
It's my love language is acts of service. And I
Some people find that really
They
hard
really-
to understand.
some people really don't like the fact that a woman in this day and age will
Wait hand on foot
wait
on a
hand
man
on a foot on a man
and enjoy it.
and
But
like
do you know
it.
what, Hannah? It feeds into our constant need to be doing something. It
Yeah.
helps us.
I love it.
Same.
I'm always like, do you need anything? Do you want a snack? Do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a drink? I can go to the shop
Have
and
you
get you
everything you
that.
need?
And that's not me. It's actually me being selfish because I'm trying to keep myself busy. It's not really driven by him because he's like, babe, just sit down. And I'm like, no, but you must want something. Do you
It's
need
funny,
anything?
isn't it? Yeah.
So I made him his bagels and jam this morning and a cup of tea.
That's what I had for my meal one.
Yeah. Do you have 2 full-size bagels with
No.
butter and jam?
No, I had a bagel thin and 50 grams of jam.
Boring.
So I'm disordered.
So yeah, we just live our life together, and he's a part-time strongman athlete, televised athlete, also CrossFit on the side, maybe a future CrossFit Games star. And yeah, we just
Lewis has been the best thing that's ever happened to you.
hasn't he?
And you have been the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Yep.
And I cannot explain after to go through what I've seen you, Hannah. It's making me want to cry, but I'll always remember
I
the
know what you're
shopping
gonna
centre
say.
where we lived, and I hadn't seen you since your dad died, and I saw you, and I remember what you were wearing, and you had sunglasses on, and you had a little black backpack and a baggy t-shirt, and you were like skeletal, but it wasn't even so much your weight. You were just,
I was like dead
there
behind
was
the eyes.
nothing there. And I
Mm.
was like, and me being me,
Remember it.
I'm Bex, like, and a big cuddle.
I
Like,
remember
the
it.
girls were there.
Everyone
I've
was
got
there.
a safe face.
Yeah.
And give you a big cuddle, and you're like, yes, okay, like, we'll talk, we'll see each other, whatever. I can't even remember what we spoke about, but I remember coming away from that just being like, oh my God, like, it was like I'd left my heart like in your pocket as I walked away. My heart just went out to you, and I just wanted to, I was like, what can I do? What
Yeah.
do you need anything?
Do you need anything? Do you need a
Would
snack?
you like a cup of tea?
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. So to see that
Yeah.
and live that, and to put my arms around you and hold that, and then the girl that came here this morning into the studio, I was like,
Yeah.
I just text Lewis, like, no, I'm here. Like, it just makes me so happy. And the
Yeah.
life you've got with the dogs and everything. Like, I like to think I know you better than a lot of people.
You do.
And yeah, it just makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And I know how happy Lewis is as well.
I do too.
Because I've known him that entire time. I've
I
seen
know.
him. It's like I'm watching you grow up together.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely because, and as well, like, we're women, we talk about relationship side of things, and we've been through it all. Any little niggle, we talk to each other, we do.
Mhm.
So to know, and you're the same for me in my relationship, because I, since we've known each other, I've gone through a divorce,
Yeah.
into a new relationship,
Yeah.
gone through all of that.
Mhm.
And for us to both continuously bounce off each other and learn what we're learning along the way,
Yeah.
it's just been nice, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about weight loss anymore. We need to go back to that. So you're with Lewis. He's a strong man. Do
Yeah.
you think he pulled you away from the world at all?
I don't think he
Bodybuilding?
pulled me away. He'll listen to this and be like, he has influenced, but not in a way like, not in a negative way. I think just our relationship in general, our dynamic, the way
You really understand each other.
We-
He understands
Yeah, he
you need to
does.
get up and go for that walk. He
Yeah.
also understands that you need to make him his breakfast before he leaves because it makes you feel productive.
exactly.
And he also understands if you've done all of that, you can probably sit together and have a little Chinese in the evening. But you're not
Yes.
going to go ham on it because that's not you now.
Yes.
So that leads me to a really good question of how you've kept your weight off.
Yeah.
And not so much how you've kept your weight off, but how you've adapted to the person you are now
Mm,
from the girl who was never, I mean, at one point there was no knowledge on what a calorie was, what a
no,
macro was,
no.
we were eating freely,
Yeah,
extremely overweight,
yeah,
not doing anything about it.
yeah.
So that's one version of you,
Mhm.
and the version of you now could not be more polar
Yeah.
opposites. So what are your key things that you do now that you didn't do then?
Planning.
Hmm.
I like to plan. I like to plan my day before in
We've
terms
talked
of
about this before, that when we get into bed at night with,
it's one of my favorite things to do now because
talk
I'm
to me about tomorrow.
yeah.
I wonder if other couples do that, or if it's just us.
I don't know. I don't
Sound like
know.
we're the couple.
We're the couple. Um, One of my favorite things to do is when I haven't planned the next day's food and I'm like, "Oh, what can I get in? This is going to be great." I
The
really enjoy
challenge.
it. I love it. What really great things can I get into my day? Obviously it depends kind of like what stage I'm in, whether I'm dieting or whether I'm just, freely eating and just being
Hmm.
mindful. But regardless, I still do the same thing. I'll plan everything. Um, I love exercise. I love it. If I can walk there, I will walk
Hmm.
there. Um, if I can't find time for the gym, I'll make sure that I, up my steps a little bit. I love all types of exercise. I swim, I run, I weight train. I have 2 dogs who need walking multiple times a day.
So just from like your activity levels
Yeah,
are a world away,
a
and you
world of
maintain those activity levels to a higher.
well, yeah, I think once you get dogs, you have to be walking at least twice a day.
I also think it's very difficult once you learn the knowledge of how sort of not easy, how you can do how you can fit in like 10,000 steps a day. When you do that for however long and
Mm,
you're conscious of it,
mm.
you ain't going back
You're never
to,
going back.
no,
Once you've
you're too
educated
far gone.
you can't uneducate yourself. Once you're educated and your knowledge on something has grown,
Mm.
you can't unlearn that. You already know it, so you adapt it
You could
and
choose
you
to be ignorant to it,
of course you
but
can. And don't get me wrong, some days I'm like, "Mm,
that's the
I'm
difference,
not
is
putting my
knowing
watch on."
it, I didn't wear my watch today. Do you know why? Because I knew I'd be sat down a lot of the day, and I
Well,
didn't want that in my head.
yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
it is interesting.
So to summarize,
Yep,
give the viewers
yeah.
3 bits of solid advice for lifestyle change. We could do one each if you'd like.
Okay, so planning I think is really, really key.
Hmm.
I've always planned all throughout my journey and my ups and downs, all stages. Um, when I used to work at a school on a Sunday, I would meal prep 5 days worth of breakfast and lunch and dinner and snacks. I'd take the picture for Instagram. I'd lay it out. You'd have like 100 meals on the island in the kitchen.
Mm.
Like I'm always if you
Prepare.
pe- fail, pre- fail,
Fail
fail to
to
prepare,
prepare,
prepare
prepare
to
to
fail.
fail.
Exactly. I'm a huge, huge believer in that.
Okay,
So
that's your
planning,
number one tip, you'd
planning and
say.
preparation.
Okay, we'll just do one each just to keep it short and sweet, because I'm pretty sure we've hit the 45 mark already. My a piece of advice, not my top piece. No one's perfect. Like the if you've woken up and you've got a stinking cold, or your kids were up all night, or you've twisted your ankle and you can't get your steps done or whatever, yes, that's one part of your day, but what else can you control?
Yeah,
Control what you can control.
yeah,
If your day only presents 40%, give 40%.
yeah.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Really great bit of advice that. I'm gonna
So
take
I'll
it
end
with
it
me.
there.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you so much. Like
We've got so much more
I
to
feel like I could sit here for 10 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like we scratched the surface on,
It was a massive whistle stop
yeah. So
tour
thank
on
you.
thank you.
And if you want Hannah back on, then comment below and tell us what you want us to talk
I'll just
about.
talk about because we can home in on, like, certain subjects and stuff, but
Yeah,
that was, really therapeutic.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Upfront podcast. If anything's resonated with you today, or you just found it helpful, or you'd like any more advice, any guests on, please just comment below, or you can contact me on Instagram, coached by _Bex, and just DM me.